And many of us are here because we are so excited about this morning. It gives me great pleasure, and I am so proud to nominate Major Franklin Riddick Jr. as Chief Administrative Officer for Prince George's County Government. And I have to say to you, we are especially lucky here in Prince George's County. Although Major was not born in Prince George's County, he was born in Virginia. He is very much a son of Prince George's County, and we have much to be proud of. As it is no exaggeration to say that Major Riddick, his qualifications and experience are unmatched by any person really in the state of Maryland. His credentials speak for themselves. He is a person who is tough and resourceful. He has faced many challenges head on in his entire life. He finds innovative and strategic ways to work through circumstances. And what I have to tell you about Major is, again, he really is one of a kind. We are so fortunate to have a person like him. I'm reminded when I think about Major that in 1968, Major was one of 38 African American students to attend Virginia Tech. And I have to tell you that in his freshman class, and I have to tell you, my sister graduated from Virginia Tech in 1992. And I remember the hills of Blacksburg, Virginia. I know well what they mean. So to know that Major Riddick attended as one of 38 African American students in a body of, I believe, 11,000 at that time. Not only did he excel, he graduated in 3 years from Virginia Tech. He went on to achieve his master's degree as well. And so he is a person whose credentials and his history really of perseverance and intestinal fortitude, I think, really do speak volumes. He also was able to go on to teach sociology and urban economics at Norfolk State. See, he is so well qualified to be Chief Administrative Officer, in fact, that he has been here before. You've probably often heard me say that he has had the distinction of working for 5 different county executives. He was the first African American to serve as Chief Administrative Officer under County Executive Paris Glendenning. He was also the county's housing director and budget director at different periods during his tenure. Major went on to serve more than 6 years as Chief of Staff to Governor Glendenning, and again, he was the first African American to serve in that position, and also served as Chief of Information Technology for the state. So he truly has done it all. And as Chief of Staff to the Governor, I have to tell you, he's one of the longest serving African American Chiefs of Staff to a Governor in the country's history. So again, we are very fortunate to have him here. He has many strengths, but I believe the one that really makes him stand out is that he's a person who identifies solutions, he's innovative, and he knows how to keep government moving forward. He is a person who I often refer to as an Energizer bunny. Most people show up for work with a briefcase. Major shows up with his backpack, and I don't think he's ever stopped moving since he's been here. During the time that Major served as Chief of Staff, the state of Maryland was ranked 47th in the nation in terms of technology. And because of his efforts, Major formed many relationships. He brought companies into the state of Maryland, into our schools across the state, who were then outfitted with the latest technology and computers. And under his guidance, our state went from 47th to 11th in technology. So he is a person who knows how to get it done, and he is trusted. For the last 33 years, and this is actually where I met him, Major has been a faithful member of Ebenezer AME Church, where he serves as a trustee and chairman of the Stewardship and Finance Commission. I say this because as someone who has known Major for many years, I understand that service is so critical to who he is as a person. He leads this way. He inspires others, not only in his church family and in this government, but it has been amazing to watch all of the young people in our government who have been inspired by his leadership. After I was elected as county executive, I went to Major. He thought he was going to come and serve for a couple of months. I said, you know what, if you can just come in for a few months, your experience will be great. Just, give us a strong start. I want to select a sound cabinet, and I believe that you're the right person for that. So he agreed because Major was at the point in his life where he was on the golf course. I have to confess to you that it was not until really a couple of months ago, Major was preparing to wind down. This is the truth. Had put the succession plan in place. And one morning I said, can you please come meet with me early? I have something I need to discuss with you. I closed the door and said, not yet, Major. If you can just give me just a little bit longer. We're on such a great trajectory, and I think your experience has been so great. He said, let me go home and discuss it with my wife. I want to thank his wife, Minerva Riddick, who is here this morning. And he said, I'm not so sure about this. I think my wife has other plans, but he came back and said that he would. And the last thing I'll say, in all seriousness, I would like to publicly say to Major Riddick, thank you, Major, so very, very much. With all sincerity, he, again, came at a time where it was needed. He did not ask what was in it for him. He just went to work. And, they say at every level there are new devils. And I have to tell you, this work is not easy. For those who submit themselves to service, and I know I say it to fellow public servants, how difficult it is to put yourself in this space. A man who in his life doesn't need this right now. Again, could be returning to the golf course, is a business man and everything else. And we know that you put your reputation and everything else for the public when you accept to take these roles. But again, at a time where he could have gone home, Major said, you know what, I'll do it. And so I want to thank him for his commitment to our administration. Certainly want to thank him for his commitment to our county. And we're so proud today to nominate Major Riddick. Thank you, and ask you that he be
Point, we'll hear from the nominee himself, Mr. Riddick, if you have any comments, and then we'll have members of the public.
I won't tell you what she said when I went home and asked her if I can do this again. But prayer works, and I thank the pastor for his prayer. And if we can start any day with prayer and giving honor to God, it's going to be a good day. And let me just say good morning as well. Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, esteemed members of the County Council. Let me thank the County Executive. I wasn't sure of the order, so I also was going to thank Rashawn Baker and Jim Eastep for saying kind words. So you know you have to say kind words. I needed them to go first so I can turn around and make sure I say the right thing. So I would just like to thank the other county officials and guests who came out today. Let me, as we already did, recognize Minerva, my wife, who has joined me and sits through now the fifth time I have come before the County Council for an appointment process. I've worked for 5 county executives, as you heard earlier, and it's been a great pleasure and distinct honor to work for County Executive Officer Brooks as acting Chief Administrative Officer for almost a year. If you think that her high energy and strong commitment to serve the citizens of the county is the best, in the best way ever. I'm sorry. In the best way ever.
I agree.
If you think it's not for real, then you don't know that she's Prince George's proud. Over the past 40 years, I've had the distinct pleasure to serve the state of Maryland, Prince George's County, and the community in many capacities. You've heard about some of my jobs and I was blessed to serve in during those earlier times. My focus now is to help lead our dynamic leadership team and agency heads and to help them do their best to be a transformative force in delivering on the vision of our county executive. We will do that by making sure that our communication and our collaboration are intentional as well as strong, direct, and clear. I'm thankful for the partnership that we have with the County Council and your team. If we can continue to communicate and collaborate together, we will enjoy the confidence that our citizens will be served very well. Yes, it's the 3 C's: communication, collaboration, and confidence that helps me focus on the pathway to success. The success that hard work and determination can yield. We have many challenges ahead of us as we soon will be entering another budget season. As we focus on beautification, housing, and economic development, or the responsiveness of 311 to our citizens, or keeping our communities safe, or Vision Zero, as well as the well-being of our veterans, our seniors, and especially our youth. I'm not here to accept this opportunity for recognition, but instead to serve the great county because I'm also Prince George's proud. I could go on, but I cut it back a couple of times so that I wouldn't be up here too long because I know you have a busy day. So finally, I just want to say that I pledge to bring almost as much energy to the job as the county executive, remembering that the first time I appeared for the appointment as CAO was in 1991, a few years ago. But God is good, and He opened this door and preserved my health so that I may serve the citizens again. I would like to thank Mr. Baker in advance and Mr. Eastep, because I know they're going to say some good stuff. Thank you. And I'd like to thank all of you for your partnership. And I'm honored to be considered for this appointment, and I thank you for your support.
It was my intention to make sure that we were able to attract the best and brightest to work in this government. It is what we believe the people deserved. And so we used a group of talent and a talent acquisition group to make sure we could find the best and brightest. And what we were pleased to learn is that many of them are already working in the government. Ms. Alexander was one such professional. You've already heard two things about her. She is deeply intelligent, very committed to her work. She's experienced and knowledgeable. But I think the trait that really does distinguish her, and I'll also have an opportunity to speak about the nominee after her, is her humility is the thing that I think makes her so strong and so successful as a leader. Ms. Alexander brings over 2 decades of state and local government experience in the areas of housing and community development and has demonstrated consistent leadership since her appointment. She's worked in leadership and management roles for the Stamford, Connecticut Housing Authority, the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, and the New York City Department of City Planning. Her extensive background working with housing authorities, community development organizations, and other entities pertaining to neighborhood revitalization projects, real estate development, affordable housing, program management, and operations will be great assets to Prince George's County. She is someone who's been in this organization working to make it successful, and she, in fact, is not only well-known here in the county, but you can hear her name spoken as well in the region. As we go to the Council of Government and other places, she is exceedingly well-regarded. I am so proud of Estella Alexander. As I mentioned to you, we conducted a process to make sure that we were able to select individuals who had not only the background but had a record of success that we thought would be an asset to this government. And throughout this whole year, Ms. Alexander worked steadily, continued to demonstrate leadership and success, and she also interviewed for this particular position, did so with great humility, and by the time the process was over, we all knew what was there forever, and it was that Ms. Alexander was the strongest and best candidate to lead this agency. And so I want to thank her for her leadership. Certainly want to thank her as well for her humility. During this course of time, she could have said, "What are you doing? I've been here." But she said, "You know what? Submit my qualifications." And she was selected. And finally, I heard that on the day that this was made final and we called, she said, "You know, I've just been waiting on God." Prayed about it. And you know what? I want to say to her, thank God that He sent you to us. And what a wonderful blessing you have been to us. And it's just with great pleasure that I ask you to confirm her today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam County Executive. Next, we'll hear from the nominee, Ms. Alexander. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Turner, Vice Chair Streeter, and council members. Thank you for this great opportunity to present to you my qualifications for the position of Director of the Prince George's County Department of Housing and Community Development. First, I want to say that I believe all persons should reside in decent, safe, and sanitary housing within sustainable and strong neighborhoods, and that we should all be good neighbors. Our challenge and opportunity within the department is to actively contribute in the facilitation and collaboration of this process. My professional background includes, as you've heard, many years of experience working in the area of housing and community development. As you know, I have served in the acting capacity for the past 11 months. And in some cases, many people would say that has been a long interview process. But it has made me stronger, it has made me more capable, and I understand, as County Executive Alsobrooks spoke, that it was preparing me for today. We have taken the Department of Housing and Community Development, specifically the Community and Planning Department division, from a trouble status that showed up on the Inspector General's list to a high performer in our administration of the federal entitlement programs, including the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Program, the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and most recently, the county's Housing Investment Trust Fund program. This process required and has resulted in a strong and effective and productive working relationship with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, the state of Maryland, nonprofit partners, and other public-private stakeholders. In leading the department, DHCD has evolved from simply administering programs to actively participating in a leadership role, developing and administering new policies and programs to expand the department's financial toolbox and resources. Community partners and the County Council, as you know, have recently completed the Comprehensive Housing Strategy, and I'm now happy to say co-chairing the Housing Opportunities for All work group with Councilwoman Gleros. We have great opportunities ahead of us, great challenges, but a committed team to bring these challenges and these opportunities to fruition. I believe that I'm uniquely qualified for this position as my work experiences include both leadership positions on the community development side and with several housing authorities. Of particular note is my experience in leading the Hope 6 program in Baltimore, resulting in the demolition and rebuilding of 4 mixed income, mixed use, mixed finance communities. Additionally, as indicated by others, I've served in leadership positions with the City of Stamford's Housing Authority and have worked with the New York City Planning Department. As I conclude my remarks, I would like to acknowledge my family, my sister Carolyn Alexander, and my niece, who have made it down here to support me, and many others, persons from my church, the New Psalmist Baptist Church, the state of Maryland, DHCD staff, and the DHCD staff within the agency who are here to support me. I thoroughly enjoy and love what I do. I define it as my professional purpose: building and preserving housing and building strong and sustainable communities. I am humbled by this nomination from County Executive Alsobrooks and commit to the County Executive and her administrative team, as well as the County Council, to lead the department with integrity and excellence. Thank you so very much.